Dear Mom, Pa, MAGA, I know that facts are about as useful to you as a dictionary and a 23andMe test, but that doesn't make them any less true. So even if you can't or won't listen to this, I'm going to say it anyway, because unlike you, I don't get my information from a QAnon chat room or from a fake prophet who receives messages from God or from my drunk Uncle Billy Bob, who is best known for walking away with 3 of his fingers still intact after the Tri-County Turkey Fryer blaze of 1998. So here goes. Joe Biden won the 2020 election. It wasn't stolen or Stalin, and the ones who did the actual interfering were Republicans. The January 6th attack on our Capitol wasn't peaceful. It wasn't a tourist visit or legitimate political discourse. It was a violent, traitorous attack meant to overturn a lawful election. The top secret documents found in Donald Trump's chandelier shitter weren't planted there. He didn't declassify them with his mind. And once again, a private citizen, he was not allowed to show them to anyone else for any reason in any room of his gilded golf resort. The First Amendment does not give anyone the right to manipulate vote totals or to coerce elected officials into doing it for them. No one is being indicted for you. No one was found liable of sexual abuse or business fraud for you. And that never surrender mugshot t-shirt you own the libs by wearing features a photo of a person who has just been arrested, literally surrendering. You can think whatever you want. You can believe the lies you're told. You can tell yourselves that a rapist is a family man, that someone who can't remember the name of the person he ran against or the one he hopes to run again against is sharp, and that someone who attacks our POWs and praises dictators is a patriot. But it doesn't change the fact that it simply isn't true. None of it is true. It never was, and it never will be, whether you like it or not. My guest today is Officer Harry Dunn. He's a remarkable law enforcement officer known for his unwavering dedication to serving and protecting his community. Born in 1985, Officer Dunn has become a role model for many aspiring officers, standing at an impressive height of 6'2". He seems taller. And weighing around 200 pounds, his physical presence commands respect. That's true. Throughout his illustrious career, Officer Dunn has been recognized for his exceptional courage, professionalism, and commitment to justice. He is an incredible human being who I have had the pleasure to meet. And Congressman Eric Swalwell said of his new book, Standing My Ground, the stirring memoir of Harry Dunn, a Capitol police officer on duty January 6th, who has become one of the most prominent and essential voices regarding the truth of that day, and a must-read for those who care about our nation's future. Harry is, as I said, an incredible person, and I genuinely think he's one of the nicest, funniest, kindest human beings I've ever met. And the generosity of his spirit is something you just can't describe in words. So I love talking to him. I enjoyed this conversation immensely. He really is a person who stands for what is right and what is best about humanity. And we need more people like that in the world. So I really hope you enjoy. Welcome to the Are You Effing Kidding Me podcast, Harry Dunn.
Thanks for having me. It's good to be here with you.
I'm so excited to see you, my friend. How are you doing?
I'm well. I have my drink here and my bourbon, of course. So that makes everything a little bit better. So
yeah, it does. Especially, I don't know if it's cold down there, but this morning I woke up and it was freezing. It was like 20.
It was cold in the morning, but it actually warmed up pretty nicely. It got up to like close to 70. It was like 65, 68, something like that.
See, that's why I want to live down there. I can't do the cold anymore. Like I like feel it in my bones. I'm like, oh no, it's gonna get cold.
Well, the way they talk, and I've been watching a couple winter forecasts, and they said we're supposed to have a pretty good winter, like with snow and stuff. So I like snow, so I'm excited about that.
I like snow from an aesthetic point of view. Like I like one really good snowstorm because I like, having to stay inside with the kids and like doing all the things, but then I'm good. I'm good. One and done.
Like, all right, that's enough.
Yeah. We had a couple of winters where it was like, are you fucking kidding me?
Are you effing kidding me?
Yeah. Seriously, every Monday we were like, what is happening? Yeah. So, but we didn't get any snow last year. So that sucked.
I know. Yeah, it was terrible. So,
yeah. But I know in Virginia, they're like, do you live in Virginia?
I'm in Maryland. I live in
Maryland.
Maryland.
But
Yeah.
maybe Maryland's the same, but in Virginia, if they get like a half an inch of snow, everyone's like, what?
They're like, oh, yeah. Same here.
Yeah. Jersey, we pride ourselves on being the best drivers in the country. It's just, those are facts.
The jury's still out on that, so.
I don't know. Nobody in New Jersey believes that, but that's fine. But that's why we're so universally loved around the country.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So let's just jump in. Okay. What's going on over there with these Republicans? Like kidney punching, and you want to go throwing down like in a committee room? Well, it's like extra Jerry Springer and with like Lauren, Beetlejuicing in there.
I saw that. That was so wild, man. And I don't try to get into that too much. Obviously, our job is to protect those individuals,
right,
no matter what. However, I still think it's important for the constituents to see the people that they're voting for, and that leads me, that leads me to one of the reasons why I wrote the book. Just to give an accurate, serve as an educational piece, I guess. I don't expect many Republicans, Democrats, lawmakers to read it, but, I think that the voters should be informed about what happened, what's happening, and choose the people wisely who you want to represent you.
Yeah. No, I think everyone should read it. I think every lawmaker should read it, Democratic or Republican. I think what you just said is so important. And you have gotten to see these people, like you said, you saw them in one light, before January 6th and another after. But also I just want to say from a personal experience that what you offer, this insight, is that you have a reverence for the buildings, for the institution. I gotta tell everybody, like when Harry's been very lucky to have gone down there twice, once with my kids, once.
Yeah, we did. We got a nice tour. That's it.
Yeah, and what you do is you infuse this building with your life, because you really don't it's not just a job, it's not just a workplace. It's like people say, oh, you work at a cookie factory, eventually you get tired of cookies, but like you breathe and you live this, and you stand there in the rotunda, and if you experience the rotunda from Harry Dunn's eyes, which you can't because nobody's that tall, but if you could, if you got on 4 people's shoulders and did, you're like a little kid. And I feel the same way, like on my 8th grade trip, when I got to walk into that building and I started to cry, and my friends were ready to like never talk to me again because it's got so much reverence for me. But that's what's infused in your person, but also your book, and it's just who you are, to your voice. But that's why I think that every Republican and Democrat should read it. And I love that you said that. So, I mean, I just want to talk about that a little bit, about your reverence, how you feel, how you act like a kid in this building. Other people just breeze on through.
So I'm so, that's one of the reasons why January 6th is so hard for me too, because it attacked the institution, the core of our foundation as a country, as a democracy. It attacked that. And also it physically attacked and desecrated a building that I hold in such high regard. And, just from an ancestral point of view, like slaves built that building, slaves built the Capitol against their will. And, I have the honor to protect it, and it just means so much to me. And, I've always just held that building in such high regard. And now it's difficult to navigate because it's the scene of one of the darkest days of our country's history. But yet I still love the building, but I hate it because of what it represents. And it's such a battle that I struggle navigating it, because I love it and I hate it at the same time. And God, that's one of the reasons why, like I said, January 6th is another reason it's so, personal, because I do hold these institutions near and dear, the democracy, this free society that we live in, and people try to just take it away and overthrow it. It struck a nerve more so than just, it was personal.
Yeah. I love that about you, and I feel so connected to that about you. And I think I haven't gotten to even mention the name of the book yet, which is in my notes, and I suddenly can't find it. But here it is: Standing My Ground: A Capitol Police Officer's Fight for Accountability and Good Trouble After January 6th. And I love that you cite Good Trouble. Can you talk about that a little bit? Why that's in the title?
Well, obviously, just as a man of history, and just John Lewis was just one of the greatest like people that I've ever met in my life, just a great human being. And honestly, I hadn't heard the phrase, the good trouble phrase, until, recently, well, before he passed, obviously. Um, I wasn't familiar with it even growing up or whenever, but it resonated with me because, and I talk about a lot of things in the book about how people were demanding to stand up for equal rights and equal justice when things that aren't fair, you have to say something about it. And not saying storm the Capitol, and try to overthrow the will of the American people, but fight back in the ways that you're protected under the law to do so. And one of the most powerful tools and weapons that we have is our vote. And that's why one of the reasons why I look at the book is kind of like an educational thing. I want our voters to be educated and use an educated voter is the best type of voter.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why the good trouble things stand out to me, because obviously when you hear this, when some people try to gaslight people when they say, oh, they said fight back. Well, they didn't mean physically. Like, come on, we know, stop it. We know that we didn't mean physically. It means fight back at the ballot box, to fight back for protesting peacefully,
Yeah.
And that's how things got changed all through history. The women got the right to vote. People of color got the right to vote. Black people, gay marriages were legal because people fought back, not by storming the Capitol or beating up their lawmakers, but by voting in people who would reflect their best interest. And that's what good trouble looks like to me. So January 6th, it didn't come without consequences for me speaking out. I've sometimes been a target of, the extreme right, just character attacks and character assassinations. So but it's all worth it. And I'll never shut up about it. So
I love that about you. I don't want you to shut up. We need you. We need you on our side. It's because you are really an anomaly. You're not just literally walking the beat, to protect our democracy physically and literally, but you're also doing it, figuratively and spiritually and emotionally. And you're not just doing that quietly and to yourself. You just like who you are, like this is who you are. There's a loud presence attached to everything you do. There's a loud presence attached to you. You wrote a book, saying we have to take this very seriously. This is sacred. This is special. And what we saw on January 6th was an attempt to take that very special thing that is remarkable about this country and this democracy.
It's what makes us so different from a lot of other nations. We have this, and we take it for granted. We can't take it for granted. We can't.
Yeah. I think that's so powerful what you're saying, because I think what happened for so many of us, whether it was 2016 or whether it was Dobbs or whether it was January 6th, but there was this moment where you were like, shit, I didn't realize I was like, blinders, everything's fine. My life is fine. So everything's fine. And then you're confronted with this moment where you're like, I took that for granted. And I love that you said that too, because it's like, we don't want to be looking back and saying, I wish I had, or if only I had, why didn't I then? Because then it's too late. This is at our doorstep now, right? Democracy is a daily process that we have to like always engage in and keep engaging in, because we keep you're seeing it in your real-time space where you work, this sort of coordinated attack to take these things away from us. That's not me being dramatic. Like,
it's real life. It's happening. It's happening in real time, just like you said. So,
yeah. And I think it's incredible. And I think one of the things also about your book that is also elemental to you is you talk a lot about accountability. And that's so important to you. And I feel like I just want to add this one side note to that, because there was a moment today where, and I know you can't really necessarily comment on sitting members of Congress, probably because, you serve to protect them, but let's just call her, maybe her name rhymes with Schmarjorie Smaller Queen. And she said, she referred to, and this is very upsetting to me, she referred to the events of January 6th as a 3-hour event 4 years ago, and that the director of the FBI essentially needs to move on, right? This is somebody who won't move on from the 2020 election. But the way it was downplayed in this, like,
just diminishing and disrespectful, dehumanizing way kind of feeds into this question about accountability, because we haven't fully seen it yet. And when you have people like that in Congress now, making, in the majority, by the way, making decisions and holding these sham hearings where they are able to do that, what does that say about accountability?
I'll tell you what,
how do we get it?
I'm all for, moving on and stuff like that. And however, like, I mean, for example, when felons, I'm all for felons getting their rights restored and stuff like that. You serve your time and you do your, and then you know what? We move on. You served you paid your debt to society, and you move on. But we can't move on until accountability's been served. Once accountability serves, let's move on. Okay, I agree 100%. Let's move on. Yeah. But until that happens, sorry, we ain't going nowhere.
Right. And how do we get there? Like, that's the question.
I think we're just waiting now. Like, when I wrote the book at the time, Jack Smith had not brought forward charges against Donald Trump regarding January 6th. And I'd be lying if I said I wasn't doubtful that he would. I would just, like I said, we're going on 3 years of it. And I did have doubts that it would. I didn't know what was happening. I was just, what is taking so long? But that's why I don't work in the Justice Department. That's not, I stay in my lane. I stick to the things that I know about. But I am glad to see that we are moving in the right direction and we're on our way to what appears to be accountability. But we still got a long way to go with the trial and, appeals and all that stuff that's going to take place afterwards. But we just got to wait and see.
Yeah. And I feel like what I personally think is so important, and something that you do so well, is that we're not going to let the revisionist history of the events of that day or the lead up to it or what's happened after it, we're not going to let that be whitewashed and revised. We're not going to allow the narrative to diminish it to the point where the January 6th insurrectionists who are in prison now are, martyrs, or it was a tourist event, or it was peaceful protests, or they make the false equivalencies between that and, the protests we've seen recently, like these kinds of things that they're doing which are very, very effective, largely. We need to have the counter voices like yours on the other side speaking up and saying, actually, that's not true. And I am living proof of that right here.
Well, that's the thing. One of the things that's get lost about January 6th, and there were real victims that day. It's easy for the left and the right to use January 6th as a political voting efforts and stuff like it's easy to do. Hell, in the elections that just passed in Virginia and Kentucky, Ohio, they were using January 6th in ads. People supporting this. So it became an election tool or an election topic, January 6th. That's all well and good, but people's lives are forever changed because of that. There were real victims and humans there that day. People just throw January 6th on the ballot. Like, that's not how this works. Like, no, I get it. You have to fight because you you vote for the person who supports it. It could happen again. But, Brian Sicknick, he wasn't a political guy. He's not a political person. But, people are politicizing his death, or even Ashley Babbitt, like people are politicizing her. There were real human beings there that day. And that's why people want to it's so easy to lose the human element of that day. A lot of people's lives are forever changed because of January 6th. And left and the right are using it as a election talking point. And I said, I get it, but that's kind of painful too,
Yeah, because you're walking around bearing the physical and emotional scars and trauma, and so many of your peers are as well. And there's peers of yours who are missing, but also to the point about Ashley Babbitt, she's not here anymore. And as much as I don't personally, have feelings of remorse or, grief for her loss, I will say this, it is still sad. It is still sad that had to happen, that someone had to feel compelled to do what she did that resulted in, what happened to her. But
the thing is though, there are a lot more people who think that she was right, and the people that would be willing to do what she did also. Like, people's lives were changed, like her family, like people's lives will never be the same. And like I said, I'm not, trying to. I have a hard time not feeling any kind of remorse for, when somebody loses their life. I that's just me.
Mm.
But she made a decision.
Yeah.
She made a decision. Everybody that was there that day, they made a decision. But it's people's lives would change. Like I've been in some of the courtrooms when people were sentenced to jail, and you have their loved ones in there who had nothing to do with January 6th, but now their lives are forever changed because the breadwinner is no longer to provide for their family because they're in jail, or the somebody's sole caretaker now can't make their appointments for dialysis because they got to go to jail. So that's one of the things that gets lost on people. But people don't think about themselves, and I've always been a bigger picture type person. Like look at the bigger picture, and I don't get it, man. I don't get it.
I think your bigger picture perspective is your humanity. And I think that that's what most people are missing, not just here, but in so many aspects of what's going on in the world all over the place. And I think that that's so important because what you're appealing to is something that is really, that runs as this undercurrent between all of us that we lose sight of. And when we lose sight of it, we're able to do these things that we're like, oh my God, what have I done? What was I thinking? Why didn't I? Or, like you said, the people who are connected to those who make these decisions based on a lost sense of humanity, then they're the ones paying the price. Like a little girl whose dad is crying because he's going to jail for a very long time and he can't bring her to school anymore. And she was abused. And these are horrible things. But when we lose sight of our humanity, like those things, they can creep in and condition our behavior and make our choices for us. And what you're saying is really, it's beautiful because we need more of that. We need more of it everywhere, because just to speak to that again, the humanity issue of it, here you are, this person who was beaten and you had to go through all the trauma. I don't actually know what kind of physical trauma you experienced.
I was fortunate. I'll tell you what, I was fortunate. Like I didn't suffer the injuries that my coworkers did. I don't know if it's because of my stature, because I was holding a rifle or whatever. I don't know. But what I saw from my coworkers and the injuries that they sustained that I was watching, that's one of the another reason why I speak. I was lucky. I didn't get assaulted like Sergeant Gunnell. I didn't get assaulted like Michael Fanone and Danny Hodges. So like from the physical side, I got a little bit of pepper spray and bear spray and stuff like that, but nothing like those individuals, and a lot more other unnamed men and women that day. So.
And what about the humanity of the people that you were protecting, and you walking back into that building or those buildings after the events unfolded, and for those people to then follow that with saying, no, they weren't attacked. This wasn't violence. This was peaceful. It was a regular tourist visit. It was, political discourse. People going back in there and voting to decertify the election. You had just endured big torture to protect the humanity that's lacking for those people to have gone back into, and they're back again in a lot of them, without this understanding of what you had to, or not just you, but everyone had to suffer that day, what the price that you've paid, and that didn't change their perspective on what they were doing.
Well, look at this, like certain individuals that got, I think on the Republican side, they got ran out of Congress because they chose to impeach Donald Trump, or they, voted to not certify or whatever, but they were run out of Congress. And how would they run out of Congress? Because their constituents voted them out. So that's why I think it's important to have these accounts like myself, like Sergeant Gunnell, Danny Hodges, the individuals when Carolyn Edwards testified. I think it's important to educate these voters of what really happened, because, a lot of times in people just believe the loudest person. It's unfortunate. The loudest person is usually the one who gets the most attention or whatever. And that's where we're at now. But we need more people speaking out about what happened. And, it's frustrating, but that's one of the reasons why I won't stop talking, because like everybody's got a story from that day. Everybody does. Everybody knows what happened. Everybody just needs to speak up and tell what really happened that day.
Yeah. You are storytellers, or you are the gatekeepers of, accurate and honest history. And it's so important because it is under attack everywhere we turn. You were awarded a medal, but you were honored by President Biden with the Presidential Citizens Medal for your service on January 6th and beyond, for an event now forever etched into the annals of American history. I was gonna mess up annals, I was sure. I can't believe I didn't. But let's just talk about that. So I watched that ceremony. I cried like a baby, not just because you as a human being, but because I feel what you feel. And I'm not there, but I feel what you did, what it means to you. It means so much to me that you are there, that you were honored for your service, and it wasn't just that day; it's everything you've done since that day. And I think I saw your beautiful little girl with you.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So tell me a little bit about what that moment meant for you.
So one of the things, like the Citizens Medal, when I got the notification that I was getting it, I had to do some research on it, and because I wasn't familiar with it and I wanted to know exactly what it was, and as you know, some of the people there that day, they wore their uniforms. They were dressed in their uniform. I chose not to wear my uniform, and that was because I didn't receive it as because of what I did on January 6th, what I did or what I didn't do. I received it as a citizen who loves and cares about this country, and the face of adversity, in the face of everything that's going on, still having the fortitude to stand up and fight for this country, as a citizen, not necessarily as a police officer, but just as a citizen. And that's one of the reasons I chose try not to be recognized as a police officer. I tell you what, though, I would trade all that shit, the medals, the awards, I would trade every single thing in for that day to never have happened, or for everybody to acknowledge what we really went through. I would trade it all in. And I mean, I appreciate it, no question about it. But, to look at what we had to go through, not to get it, but why we got it, it says more about the state of the country than a few of us individuals who were awarded that medal. It just shows that we really had to go through what we went through to get that. Like, that makes no sense when you think about it.
Yeah, it's such an interesting perspective, because I would have never thought about that, because you're looking at it from that point of view, which makes total sense, but the rest of us are like, well, no, but they should be honored and there is something to that, there's something to honoring you because it's really important, just historically, but also to show others that it's important so that others can feel, empowered to do the same. But it sort of does kind of make you think, it puts this perspective where you're like, how did this happen? Did this really happen? Like, I'm coming home from work. My kids are watching it where the person that was helping me was like nannying them essentially. And they're little and they're watching this on their TV and they're scared shitless. And I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah.
And I'm seeing it from my perspective and still just flabbergasted. To this day, it's, to me, surreal. Like, that happened, because it's hard to explain how we went from that never happening to that happening. So there was no pathway where we're like, oh, there's a gradual thing where there's gonna be an attack.
It just happened. Like, wait, how the hell did this happen? Like I said, the award is nice and everything, but think about why we got the award. What that really happened? It's like you see, like somebody says you got a medal for bravery because you wrestled a shark, beheaded a bear, and killed an alligator within 10 seconds.
You could probably
that's a hell of a feat, but wait, what? How the hell did that happen? Like, nobody even thinks about how the hell did this happen, you know?
Yeah. It's like there were aliens.
Yeah.
But if anybody could defeat all those animals, it would be you. So that's kind of a good kind of segue to the last question I have before we get to Leo's questions. My 14-year-old son, he's pitch hitting for me on the totally random question segment of my podcast. But my last question for you is, with all of the things we talked about, right? So you're still a Capitol Police officer. You're still there. And you're still there, by the way, and giving tours to I'm not offering your tours, but giving the coolest tours I've ever had in my life. My kids, oh my God. Like, how many times did I almost cry? Did I cry a couple times? I feel like I cried a couple times with you. I probably cried at least once. I know. I fangirled over this end or all the things, but I'd love to know why are you still doing it?
Well, one, I still got bills to pay.
Yeah, but you could do a lot of things. You could be on TV. You should be on TV. I'm not saying you should leave because we need.
I know. You know, I when I joined it, I believe in it. I believe in public service, and you know, after that day, realizing I kind of like view me and my coworkers as like defenders of democracy.
It's true.
You know, whether you know it or not. But I mean, that's kind of, you know, what a hell of a way to serve your country. I mean, we'll see whatever comes up in the future, but I tell you what, I don't like it anymore. But I just feel like it's a duty now, and I feel like I have to do it now. But we'll see what the future holds. But I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you this much: it won't change the fact that you're a defender of democracy. It just might change what you're wearing when you do it, and what kind of reminders that are around you that are dark, because every window that you pass, or officer that you see, or stairway that you walk, those are the reminders that bring you back to that dark day that should never have happened. And no one should expect you to have to, or anyone to have to continue to endure that. It's just reinforcing trauma. And we need defenders of democracy in all different aspects of this life that we live. And because you have so much humanity in your soul, you will do a lot of good no matter where you go and what you do for this democracy.
Thank you.
It's true.
Thank you.
It's true. And I could cry because I just think that it's so important to have people like you in this world. Okay, so before I cry, and I have an ugly cry, so I won't do that.
I appreciate you.
I appreciate you. And by the way, this is my first ever After Dark podcast recording. Harry Dunn, let's go.
Hey, there you go. Look at that. Look at that.
I mean, it doesn't, it's probably because it's dark now at like 3:00 in the afternoon.
I know. It's like, what the hell is going on?
Fucking depressing. It's like,
yeah,
it's 3:00. Yeah, so that's part of it, because but it's like, whoa, look, it's the meth house, as my trolls call it, in the night. The OnlyFans room is in the back. But okay, so let's just rapidly, because I've had you now for half an hour. Let's get to my son Leo's totally random questions.
Yeah. What do you got?
Yeah.
What do you got?
All right. So, by the way, Leo will be at the Capitol this spring, and they're not getting to go inside, which is so dumb. Missed opportunity. I just can't even. You need to see the rotunda, whatever. But he's seen it. Okay. Leo's first question. This was very important to him. If you had to pick one thing for your last meal on Earth, what would it be?
That's a good one. I'm so simple. Like I feel like I had to be extravagant now, because one of my favorite foods that I eat all the time, I love wings. I love wings.
Me too.
I love wings. Like, not just necessarily buffalo wings, but like even like flavor. Like I like Old Bay wings and like buffalo and lemon pepper. Like I just love wings. But I would love fried chicken, potato salad, mac and cheese, and some collard greens. I feel like that would have to be my last meal.
You can't go wrong with that. You have a place that you love for all those things?
My parents, my mom. Okay. My mom.
Can we get a table there?
I know, right? I know, my mom. But yeah, that would have to be it. So.
Yeah. I love that. And I will say that wings, you spoke to my heart and Leo's heart. There's a place here in town, and they've got like, I don't even know. I don't know how they do it. Like 400 flavors of wings or something.
Yeah, there's so many different flavors now, man. It's like, ranch and Cajun and teriyaki and spicy teriyaki and spicy Cajun ranch. Like, what the hell? Like,
peanut butter, bacon.
I want to try them all, though. I want to try them all.
Yeah. Well, you got to come up to New Jersey, and we'll bring you to this place, because they pull it off. I don't know how you have all those things in your kitchen. I don't want to know, but they pull it off. They will try a different one every time. And for me, I like them naked, which again is for after dark. But I like them when they're not breaded, which is old school. I think a lot of people like them better.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. That was the first question. Second question. And Leo had a specific intention behind this one, by the way. What was your dream job as a kid?
I want to play football.
That was Leo's intention. Okay.
I thought I was gonna be a professional athlete, and obviously in the book I talk about that, but it didn't pan out that way. I thought I was just gonna be a star football basketball. Well, I started out playing basketball, but transition to football. I just thought I was gonna be a professional athlete, and that would have been my dream, I guess.
That was what Leo wanted to know, I think, and well, I guess he wanted to add in there what was that like as a college basketball, football?
He can read that part of the book. Let him read that part.
Okay. I will actually, Leo. You have to read, my son. Not involuntarily, sort of voluntarily, by the way, because he likes to read when he's forced to read, but he doesn't just pick up a book. It's like there's so many good sports books. There's so many good books, and like Harry's book, read it. Okay, Leo.
Yeah.
Now you have to watch this podcast, my son, and you have to read the book. But I'm going to show him this part.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah. Because that was what he wanted an answer to his question, and he's going to have to go find it. And your book. Okay, last question. This was Leo. Would you rather be able to speak to animals or speak every human language?
Speak to animals.
Really?
I feel like I'd rather speak to animals. Because sometimes I don't like people. Don't you wish like no animals that you just get it? Like sometimes you got a dog or you just look over and like I feel you, dog. I said that to my dog once. Like I come down. My dog has his own like little. Well, it's a room, but so I go in there and I could say, "Come on, Frosty," and she'll look at me like, "Nah, not today." And I'm like, "Yeah, I feel you." But she'll go to the door and it's cold or it's raining. She'll look, "Yeah, nah, I ain't doing it." And I'm like, "I feel you." I feel like if that's what she was, if she could talk, that's what she would say. "Yeah, nah, this ain't happening." I would feel like talking to animals would be, because just imagine some of the stuff that they've seen. Just, I'm sure they've seen a lot.
Oh, yeah. Especially house pets. Like, I have seen my dad and mom.
I know. You talk. That would be a story right there. Hell, I mean, I love Dr. Dolittle.
Right.
That was awesome. Just Dr. Dolittle.
Like then you're for sure one of those people who's like, I feel weird when the dog's in the room. It's like,
yeah, exactly.
The room. Yeah. And I feel like, I don't know why, but squirrels and raccoons would have some stories to tell. But yeah. But then go to a zoo. Imagine what the hell you would hear at the zoo. Like you're talking to a giraffe. It's like, how the fuck did I get here?
Exactly.
What am I doing in New Jersey?
I know. Can you imagine?
Yeah, no, actually we need to manifest that. We need to make that happen. Well, okay. So the book, we talked about the book, Standing My Ground, a Capitol Police Officer's Fight for Accountability and Good Trouble After January 6th. Is there anywhere else you want to send folks to check out what you're working on, or
I mean, just stay engaged. Follow me on Twitter. It's not X, it's Twitter.
Same.
And Threads, Libra Dunn, LIBRADUNN, and obviously, I'll make announcements there or just talk trash or whatever, You
offer a lot of spiritual kind of.
And that's the thing. Yeah, I try to. I try to be positive, So, hopefully you'll follow me.
Yes, definitely follow Harry, because it's not just it's very much a mixed bag, and then every now and then he surprises you with something where it's like, "How are you? How are you? How really? How are you?"
Yeah,
and you're like, "Oh shit, I'm terrible."
Yeah. Like this sucks. Like,
I need to go talk to a squirrel.
Yeah. That is funny.
Right? Well, this is an amazing conversation. I just feel, since I've ever met you, the very first second I ever met you, I was like, I feel like I know you. I feel like I've known you forever. You're just like, that's who you are. I guarantee you everyone who's ever met you feels like that. My kids felt like that. It's just who you are. It's inherent in your soul. And
thank you.
It's true. And you're a gift. You truly are a gift to this country, and a gift to the universe. So thank you so much.
That means a lot to me. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you. And I know everyone's going to love this conversation. So I'm so excited to get this out. But that does it for this episode of the Are You Effing Kidding Me podcast. Thank you again to my amazing guest, Harry Dunn. And you guys have a great week. I'll see you all next time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Look, I think we can all agree, if we can't agree on much else, that these are pretty crazy times, and navigating all of that every day can be pretty stressful. In my case, I had 2 middle schoolers, and there are just some days where I'm dragging myself across the finish line. And then there are the nights when a glass of wine or two fits the de-stress bill. But
let's be honest. I'm a busy mom. I can't be waking up feeling like crap, whether that's that second glass of wine I had or eating my daughter's leftover chicken fingers because I didn't want them to go to waste. Either way, enter ZBiotics. Here's how you use it. Step 1, have a ZBiotics. For best results, make ZBiotics your first drink of the night. Step 2, drink responsibly. Pace yourself, hydrate, and get a good night's sleep. Step 3, enjoy tomorrow, wake up feeling refreshed and ready to take on the day. ZBiotics Pre-Alcohol Probiotic, your first drink of the night for a better tomorrow. Engineered by a team of PhD microbiologists, ZBiotics is a probiotic drink that breaks down the byproduct of alcohol, which is what's responsible for those rough mornings after drinking. So go to zbiotics.com/politicalvoices or scan the QR code on the screen right now to get 15% off your first order when you use Political Voices at checkout. Again, go to zbiotics.com/politicalvoices or scan the QR code on the screen right now.